This video is going to contain spoilers from the off, so I'm warning you now. Foundation is finally back after almost 2 years with Season 3. Lucky for me, I've been in cryosleep, so I've dried off and it's like I've never been away. This is a prime example of how you bring a show back and kickstart a new season. From the opening scene with the Mule taking Kalgan in the most brutal of fashions and showing just how powerful he truly was. Gaal narrating over the story of what's happened through the development of New Terminus, the change in leadership, and the fact that religion is no longer at the heart of it. It's more so about the ability of being able to trade and the growing economy, and also the third crisis, which looks set to bring about the very end of civilization itself. The third crisis is going to level both the Foundation and Empire in the sense that it won't truly matter which side of the war you're on. An eternal nothingness is on the horizon if the series of events doesn't get altered. So with that, let's dive into this episode and break down all the juicy parts as well as the important ones too. Here is Foundation Season 3 Episode 1 Ending Explained. The Mule's opening scene. The opening scene in this episode was incredible. Its sole purpose was to not only introduce us to the Mule, one of the main villains in the entirety of the show, but its aim was to show us just how powerful of an individual that he was, and the show managed to do exactly that. He was haunting, menacing, charming, cunning, and absolutely evil at his core. He wiped out Archduke Balerian's forces in a matter of seconds, left the Archduke standing there around all of his dead, made him bite off his finger, and then end things for himself, all whilst having a smile on his face. The Mule conquered a planet that was deemed to be so vital because whomever claimed the free planet, it would mean that the other planets in the middle band would most likely follow. Hence why the Foundation and Empire originally left them be, but now they're gonna need to be involved. I loved that little touch where before the Mule was introduced to us, the Archduke touched his head, which at the time meant absolutely nothing. But by the end, it showed that the Mule had wormed his way inside of his mind before he'd even laid eyes on him, showing that he didn't even need to be in the vicinity of the space. This was 7 minutes of pure perfection, and it showed us the Mule in a way that will allow us to remember him, even though he didn't actually feature outside those first few minutes other than in conversation. Plus, it also broadcasted just how evil and unstoppable he's gonna be. The Mule wanted Kalgan because he knew that the rest of the middle band would follow if the planet fell, so the Mule will most likely be successful in claiming the others that surround it. His ultimate goal is to find the second Foundation and destroy it, as we saw when he appeared to Gaal those many years ago, and by taking these planets, he's getting the attention that he wants from the Foundation and Empire, and rather than have to seek them out, he's doing this so that he can cause disruption and get them to go to him. It's smart when you think about it. Right now, Gaal is probably the only person that's going to be a match for him, but she needs to hone her abilities. She's a long way off right now, but with time, she might well be his equal. The concerning thing is though, she doesn't have much time. Demerzel's conflict. Demerzel is said to be around 18,000 years old. She survived the robot wars, which saw robots going to war against other robots, and also humans because they didn't know how to view them. Within this episode, we saw her speaking with Zephyr about her backstory, revealing that she was in fact a robot and sharing that she knew the third crisis was on the horizon and it could bring about the end of the Cleonic Dynasty as she knew it. She mentioned the 3 rules that were programmed within the robots, which was that they couldn't harm humans. The second was that they had to follow human orders unless it interfered with the first rule. And then the third rule was that they could protect their own existence as long as it didn't interfere with the first 2 rules. So this showed a true moral complex and provided confusion, hence why the greater good of humans was seen to be valued more than on an individual level. With Demerzel being loyal to the Cleonic Dynasty since Cleon I, with the end of Empire potentially being on the horizon, she actually mentioned how she was concerned over what her purpose would be if Empire fell because she didn't know a life without it. She's undergoing an identity crisis, hence why she was turning to the Luminists because they have their ways when focusing on rebirth. Demerzel would need to be reborn in some kind of way where she'd find a greater purpose after the Cleonic Dynasty would no longer exist. Demerzel has long actually been a favourite character of mine in the show, and I actually did a video on why she is, so I'll put that down below for you to watch once you finish this. Right at the end of the episode, during the ending, we saw that Demerzel was getting caught up over the Seldon crisis, and she was questioning what the Prime Radiant's prediction was showing. The numbers showed that within 4 months the Cleonic Dynasty would fall, but there was something greater than that. The Dark Age was going to be occurring, and the end of civilization as they knew it would be met. It was going to be the end of everything, which would mean that the Empire and the Foundation would both be heading towards the same nothingness. The Civil War. Like how the Mule is doing all that he can to capture the attention of Empire and the Foundation, there's a civil war that's brewing within the Foundation between the traders and the leadership, showing signs that a faction are going to fight back and look to take down the mayor and all of those that are in charge. What's interesting about this though is that Empire are basically supplying arms to the traders that are looking to fight back because they know that by arming them with the weapons, they're facilitating a war that would go in their favour. But at the same time, they don't have to put any manpower, time, or effort into it. All they need to do is supply the weapons, and their enemy, which is the Foundation, will naturally get weaker. It'll tear itself apart from the inside. We saw Pritch try to capture proof of Empire supplying the arms, but he fell short, and ultimately changed his MO and went after the Mule, which I feel is going to prove to be damaging for him, because he's not the pirate that everybody thinks that he is. He's far more dangerous than that. The focus should be on the Mule from all parties, and I don't think they're going to realise that until it's too late. My review of the episode. In my opinion, I thought this was the perfect way to bring back the show. It was compartmentalised in the sense that there was a ton of planet hopping, and usually I'm not a fan of the story feeling like it's jumping around. But in the context of this episode, I loved the fact that we got that, because we got to see the state that all of the planets were in following time unraveling, and seeing just how Empire and the Foundation's reach was impacting everything. Hearing Gaal's iconic voice narrating over darkness at the start, and it concluding with her speaking over the end as she awoke from cryosleep, I absolutely loved it. We didn't need to see her in this episode. She was telling a story and it was all things from when she wasn't there. The tension was increasing at a steady pace throughout the runtime, and the stakes were getting higher as what she said matched what we saw unfolding in the episode. It was the perfect way of building up right to the climax of the story, and I thought it was executed really well. The opening scene with the Mule was also handled perfectly. We only ever saw him briefly in the vision that Gaal had, but when he arrived at Kalgan, we truly saw just how dangerous he could be, and that even though he was a lone man, he was a force to be reckoned with. The way he took out the entirety of Balerian's army and also his ships without having to lift a finger showed just how powerful he was, and that he's going to cause many issues for both Empire and the Foundation. Hearing Dusk casually undermining the Mule and simply calling him a pirate, it was amusing because they truly don't know what they're up against. When it came to the performances in this episode, there were just so many strong ones. Whether it be seeing Harry Seldon again, Demerzel and the emotional state that she was in despite being a robot, Brother Day and the carefree attitude that he had, something which was in complete contrast to how we last saw him, and also the Mule. The cast has returned in full force, and even just after this one episode, the foundation for the quality of acting and character development has started to be explored. From a storytelling perspective, I thought everything was laid out quite clearly, and there were hints for what could be happening littered throughout the episode. But with it concluding with us finding out that both Empire and the Foundation are heading towards nothingness in the space of 4 months, the impending doom that was soon to be on the horizon felt unavoidable. Having Brother Day's face return to its true form too, showing that his mindset was almost shifted back and transported away from this carefree lifestyle that he had, was a great moment as well, because it showed that even he was afraid. As I said, this was the perfect way for the episode to launch itself into the season, and I truly can't wait to see where it's going to go. This is one of Apple's strongest shows, and I'm glad that it's come back for a 3rd season. So far, even though we had to wait 2 years, which is a length of time that does bother me between seasons, it seems like it's going to have fully been worth the wait. So, there you have it, Foundation Season 3 Episode 1 Ending Explained. If you want to see every episode of Foundation Season 3 being broken down, then don't forget to subscribe. I'll be covering the show every Friday. Plus, if you want to see Season 2 being broken down, then I'll put the playlist below. What did you think of this first episode? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video, and I'll see you in the next one.